welcome to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this week is a special episode. It is back to our series that we started a few months back, actually 6 months back in January, and it is the Hollywood Blondes special. This is episode 2, Chase for the Gold, and we'll be covering January into February of 1993. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm doing well, man. Superman does good. But no, excited to get back in some Hollywood Blonde stuff. You know, I'm a big, not a big fan, but I enjoy the older WCW stuff. So being able to go back here and watch some of the old WCW Saturday night stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a nice way to break up from what we've been going through with 2000 into 2001 WWF. And our Stone Cold Steve Austin character, we get to go back and see the early years of stunning Steve Austin as a member of the Hollywood Blondes. And it's fun just to see a different era, a different promotion in 1993 with WCW. So yeah, it's all pretty cool, neat to take a look at. And a nice change of pace before we head on to the road to WrestleMania X17 in the big match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. So this is our little break before that. So we'll be back on that Stone Cold journey next week. But this week, it's February 93. And like I said, the last episode that we did to start the series of the Hollywood Blondes was the origin story. And that was from January. And I'm just going to give a quick little recap of what we talked about there. And we covered the early formation of Pillman and Austin being a team together. That started back in October of 92. They were put into some tag matches together, and they were associated as singles wrestlers, sometimes one of them teaming up with Barry Windham. And Barry Windham would set his sights for the U.S. title tournament that ultimately Dustin Rhodes would win. But Windham tells Pillman he can no longer be his partner, but he has the best partner for him, and that's stunning Steve Austin. And then Austin and Pillman start to do their matches from there. So we're going to pick up from that point where Austin and Pillman are not quite yet the Hollywood Blondes, but they're a tag team, and they'll soon be the Hollywood Blondes as we continue on with this story. So, JV, you ready to go?
I'm ready, man.
All right. So most of what our coverage is going to come from is from WCW Saturday night episodes. They may have had matches, Austin, Pillman of Hollywood Blondes. They may have had matches on other shows like Main Event or WCW Pro. Just, we don't have access to it. We're using the WWE Network to break down this early part of Austin's career. So we're sticking with the Saturday night episodes, Clash of Champions, the pay-per-views. So that's what we'll have here. And if there's something that's big that happens on another show, then we'll reference it. But basically, it's going to be Saturday night, and these episodes are available on the network if you want to go back and watch them. So we're going to start with January 16th, 1993. There's going to be a 6-man tag team match. Barry Windham, who had just pawned off Brian Pillman to stunning Steve Austin, and the three of them are going to team up. Windham, Pillman, and Austin against Johnny B. Bad, Brad Armstrong, and Too Cold Scorpio. And this is what a combination of people in this match. Johnny B. Bad. Just look at that team. Johnny B. Bad, Too Cold Scorpio, and Brad Armstrong.
And if our listeners here go back and watch this stuff, which I strongly recommend you do, the fact that Johnny B. Bad stays in character the whole time as this Little Richie type of guy.
Yeah, Little Richie.
It's just hilarious. It's wild.
And it's crazy because he's done interviews where, he makes it a point over and over to say, like, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
I was playing a character. So
he's still self-conscious about the character.
Yeah.
They were paying him good money, I get it,
He even does mention that when his dad found out that that's the character.
Yeah, I listened to his which podcast was it? Stone
Austin.
Cold, right?
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah. I'd listened to that one. I think you had recommended it to me.
Right, I did. And I also recommended it to all your listeners too. But there was
worth it.
Yeah, there's one part where Johnny B. Bad or Mark Merrow goes to his dad's and his dad's like all proud, like, all right, he's making big money now. Like he told his dad how much money he's making. And dad was like, oh shit, okay, you wrestling? That's fine then, if that's what you're making. And he had some of his friends come over to watch WCW Saturday Night or a pay per view. And he comes out and his dad was like, what the fuck is this? He's coming out with the gun to shoot all the confetti everywhere, like it's his penis. So his father was pretty shocked when he actually saw what his character was. But yeah, Mark Barrow, good shit here. All right, so let's get into this here. And just coming off of where we left off, it was the Clash of Champions 22. Austin and Pillman lost a match DQ to the champions, which are Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat. They are the unified tag team champions. And Shane Douglas was busted open. He got hit with the belt. During that, Austin and Pillman are, like I said, they're not quite Hollywood Blondes yet, but they're getting there. And they still have different ring gear. Austin has made the transition. He now has black and blue trunks with a star. He has short black boots, and Austin's written on them. So they haven't really meshed as a team yet. So we'll get to that in time. And then Too Cold Scorpio comes down to the ring. Last episode, if you haven't listened to it, go back. We have the video of Too Cold Scorpio. Everybody, here comes Too Cold Scorpio. and they're in a park and they're playing basketball and they start dancing. it's funny. Well, yeah, so check that out. I believe they played in this episode too, from January 16th. But anyways, the match gets started. Austin and Brad Armstrong are going to go at it. Armstrong hits Austin with a drop toe hold and tags Johnny B. Bad into the ring. And, we get nice work for both teams back and forth. Good match. Too Cold Scorpio looks awesome in the match. We got a lot of tags back and forth, as I was saying. Wyndham and Armstrong go at it. Armstrong is on fire in this match. Like, ridiculous. He doing knee lifts to Wyndham, near falls with cradles.
Yeah, he's having some good spots with Wyndham, who's a bigger guy.
Right.
I noticed, which is like interesting because you see, like, so Brad Armstrong is shorter. Obviously, he's probably like what, a solid 6 feet.
Yeah, I would say.
And he's thick. He's in shape, but you got to put him on the side of Wyndham, and it's just wild. But they do the test of strength and shit, I think, at one point.
Yep. Yeah, Wyndham's just so big. He's like 6'6".
Yeah.
So he's holding his own there, and Armstrong looks damn good in the match, as everybody does. Everybody is in the ring at one point. Pillman hits Armstrong from behind, and then Barry Windham's going to nail the DDT on Brad Armstrong for the win. I almost said Brian Armstrong like you. That's the Road Dog.
Is there Brian Armstrong? That's the Road Dog,
That's
right?
the Road Dog, yeah. Brian
Are they
James.
related?
Yeah, they have brothers. Yeah. So he hits
Brad died, right?
I think,
if I'm not mistaken. He passed away.
Brad died? Did he? I don't know.
I'll let you continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Look it up.
Yeah.
All right. So the match ends at 11 minutes, 55 seconds. And Wyndham is going to get interviewed after the match. And he talks about how he's on to the U.S. title. And there's also going to be a match later. Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes for the title. And he wants the winner. The way that this all broke down, the reason why this U.S. title is available is because Rick Rude had to vacate the title because he was injured. That led to the tournament. And that was the final. Steamboat Dustin. Dustin wins. And he gets the title. So that kind of wraps things up there.
And Rick Rude's career is never really the same after that, after all this.
No, not at all, right? So this is 93. Yeah, 94 is... comes back for a little while, and that's about it. That's the end. I barely in 94. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. This is really the end of Rick Rude at this point. So as I said, this is a good episode to go back. If you wanted to just check out WCW at this time period, this one's a good one to go back to. It's January 16th, 1993. You have this good tag team match. You also have Dustin Rhodes against Ricky Steamboat. So, good match there. And now we move on to an interview. So, we're going to get an up close with Brian Pillman and Steve Austin with Tony Schiavone. So let's take a listen to that, and we'll be right back.
Have a chance this week to sit down and talk to two men who are the top contenders to the Unified Tag Team Championship. With me in the locker room area, Stunning Steve Austin and Flyin Brian. There's no question, no, you fans would agree. They've had some tremendous battles against the champs, Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas. But I want to talk about a statement that was made right here in the same locker room not too long ago, right here on this program. It was by Barry Windham. Now, Brian, you and Barry were a great tag team. There's no question about that. But he came out here, had you with him, and he talked about priorities being wrong. He brought in Stunning Steve Austin to be your partner to go after those Unified Tag Team Championships. And I wonder now if the priorities are right for this team.
Well, Tony, I'm pleased to announce the priorities are as crystal clear as they could be. This sport is far too competitive to have anything but an intense focus. And that's just what we got now. We've all seen in the past the great success that both Steve and I have enjoyed, thanks to combining that kind of athletic ability and focus. And I'll tell you what, Tony, it's going to be pretty scary because you look at our youth, you look at our athletic ability, and then you look at our competitive spirit, you get all the makings of a dynasty.
Well, there's no question about the ability of your partner here, Stunning Steve Austin, the longest reigning world television champion the sport has ever seen. Many people felt, Steve, during your reign as world television champion, that you were, in effect, the wrestler of the 90s in world championship wrestling. You were maybe the greatest single wrestler we had ever seen come into this sport, and now your focus is in tag team. I wonder what the motivation is.
Well, going about what people are saying is that I could be the greatest singles wrestler there is. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be right. But don't forget, Brian Pillman has a successful singles career also. Yeah, right. So going back to the motivation and the focus and all that, when you put Brian and myself together, and we're looking at these tag team titles, whether it's Steamboat and Douglas or anybody, when you put the focus there, which is what we've done because this is what we want to achieve, there's no one that can stand in our way, Tony. No one.
But the focus right now has to be on Steamboat and Shane Douglas, the Unified Tag Team Champions. You've had some great battles, like I said, but now if you take a look at matching up against the Unified Tag Team Championship, we talk so much about stipulations in pro wrestling and world championship wrestling. What type of match would favor you two going after those tag team belts?
Well, I'll tell you, Tony, Steve and myself welcome any challenge. We thrive on competition. But to be honest, the ultimate showcase of our talents has got to be a 2 out of 3 fall world title match. And that's just what we're going to want. Because the longer the match goes, the stronger we get. It's just like in football. The fourth quarter's gut check time. And all of our opponents, Steamboat and Douglas are included, are going to find out that the fourth quarter belongs to us.
It's just like he's saying, Tony, in one fall match, anything can happen. But in 2 out of 3s, the team that Brian and I put in the ring, there's just no denying us. No one can beat us in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And I doubt that they have the guts to sign that type of match, because you can ask Shane Douglas about some pain, blues, and agony. Ask him, Tony. He'll tell you. I don't think that they have the guts to sign the dotted line, but if they do, then the bottom line is we will be the Unified World Tag Team Champions. That's just all there is to it.
That's it from the number one contenders, Flyin Brian and Stunning Steve Austin.
All right, so we get back from that interview, and it starts off, you have Austin and Pillman sitting there with Tony Schiavone, and they have their Nike warm-up windbreaker suit, or squishy pants suit, whatever you want to call it. So they're all decked out in that gear. Tony Schiavone calls them the number one contenders for the Unified Tag Team Champions. And then Tony also brings up how Barry Windham set his sights for the singles title and how he hooked them up together, Pillman and Austin. Pillman says they have complete focus to be the champions. Says you look at our youth, our athleticism, and our competitive spirit, and you got the making of a dynasty. Or more like Pillman say, you got the making of a dynasty. Who has the more raspy voice, Pillman or Austin? Jesus. Yeah. These guys are supposed to be, well, they're not the Hollywood Blondes quite yet, but the name Hollywood Blondes doesn't fit these guys. These guys should be like the Texas Brawlers or something. Like, that would be more passable with them on the mic.
But it's a cool name, though.
Yeah.
It almost works for them that they're not that, but...
Right.
I don't know.
It is funny that neither of them are from that area, but that's the name they went with.
They're not really acting like it either.
No, not
but
at all.
It fucking works. It's weird.
Then we continue from there. Tony calls Austin perhaps the wrestler of the 90s. And he's fucking right. Tony Schiavone's right on spot there. Stone Cold, or Steve Austin, rather, is the wrestler of the 90s, as we will go on to see by 1999. There's no doubt he is the wrestler of the 90s. And prior to this, he was the TV champion for a long time. So it's not only just he's an up-and-comer, he's already came at this point. He's been the TV champion for one of the longest reigns at this point. So Tony wants to know why he switched his focus to the tag team title. And Austin says that they were both great singles wrestlers, but now they're going to be unstoppable as a tag team. So basically, they're saying, we've done everything we need to do in the singles, so we're going to try this out and go to the top there. So Tony says that they need to be focused on the unified tag team champions, which are Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas. And Tony asks what kind of a match would be best for them to go up against Steamboat and Douglas. And Austin basically says, 2 out of 3 falls match would be the best. Because on the first fall, anything could happen. Neither team could win. But there's no way that we're going to get beat in a second fall in that kind of match. And then he goes on, and this is the great part of this promo that you heard. Says they don't have the guts to sign on the dotted line. But if they do, then the bottom line is we will be the next unified world tag team champions. And that's just all there is to it. So we got a bottom line from Stunning Steve Austin. Now,
yep,
this is
not how we know it.
No, not exactly.
Yeah.
He worked it in there, and it's still his voice. His voice hasn't changed. It's no different. So when you hear him say the bottom line, it's just, oh, shit, there it is.
Yeah.
And this is a very common phrase in wrestling. Ric Flair uses the hell out of it throughout the 80s into the 90s, and many other wrestlers too. When they want to get their final point across, they always say, the bottom line is this. Every single wrestler, I feel like, in the NWA, WCW, was cutting promos like that, saying that. So it's not like he was the innovator of it, but he's gonna take it and make it his to the point where if somebody else says it, they're ripping off Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
So nobody can say that now.
This promo alone sounds so much better for Stone Cold at the end. If he just stops it at, then the bottom line is we will be the next United World Tag Team Champions. He didn't need to add.
That's just
all there is to it. Yeah.
Right. He didn't have to. But it would have been nice if he said, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. He could have went so many different ways, but that's just all there is to it. It just sounds shitty.
Yep. So this is a notable thing there. We got the
people only say that when you're being like when you're on the defense, when you're like a little like
that's true
hesitant. There's all there is to it.
Yeah, we're gonna win. That's all there is to it. I don't know what else to say.
I'm gonna say like that's all there is to it.
Yes. Doesn't sound badass.
No. It's like what? Anyway.
Yeah. So, like I said, he's probably used it a ton of times before, but for the sake of what we're doing right now in coverage of the Hollywood Blondes, this is the first time he's used it. And it's really one of the first times he's actually said more than a sentence. All right, so we move on from there to WCW Saturday Night from January 23rd, 1993. And we kick off with a post-match promo from the Clash of the Champions. So while this is from the Saturday Night show, this clip is from Clash of Champions that didn't air on Clash of Champions. Otherwise, we would have already covered this in the first episode. But this is an exclusive. And it's Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas after their match. And as I said, Shane Douglas had been busted open because of getting hit in the head with the belt. So they're going to cut a short little promo. So take a listen to that, and then we'll be right back.
This is Tony Schiavone coming to you from Milwaukee, and what a battle it was for the Unified World Tag Team Championship. Gentlemen, you're still the champs, but it was quite a war.
You know something, Tony Schiavone? The announcers, wrestling editors on magazines, they kept saying that Shane Douglas was the weakest link in this tag team combination. They kept saying that this tag team is not vicious enough. Well, it all started with this, the gold. The World Heavyweight Championship, Tag Team, Unified. You can't get any higher than this. Yes, a war has just been started. And you know, a war If this is a war, well, Flyin, Brian, and Stunning Steve, you drew first blood. My dad always said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. You gentlemen decided to start the war, and you drew first blood. You can make darn sure and place the bet. We are happy to finish it anytime, any place you gentlemen want.
All right, so we get into this promo, and this is probably the most hyped up that I've ever seen Ricky Steamboat in a promo. And it's very brief. And obviously Shane Douglas, we've seen him numerous times as he'll go on. Not soon after this, not too far after this, he'll be in ECW cutting some great promos with Terry Funk. So we see a glimpse of that here. So Shane Douglas is bandaged up. They say how a war has just been started. So the real feud here has begun between Ricky Steamboat Douglas and Pillman in Austin. So Shane Douglas is bandaged up. He turns around. His face is bloody still. He goes on to say, you drew first blood. My father always said, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You can make damn sure we will finish this anytime you want. So, quick, sweet and short. Just shows you that this feud's going on. It's not over at Clash of the Champions. And it will continue on. I do have some notable things to bring up for some of these episodes of Saturday Night. So on this episode of Saturday Night, you get the debut of Robbie V, which is Rob Van Dam. So that's pretty cool.
I watched this.
He looked great.
Yeah, it's funny. No shoe. Barefoot.
Yeah, right. He's like Matt Riddle. He's like the original Matt Riddle. So he was already going by Rob Van Dam other places, but Bill Watts didn't like Rob Van Dam because he thought it was a ripoff of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he didn't want to look like a ripoff of it. So they made him Robbie V instead. So Robbie V defeats Pat Rose, but it was a heck of a match for being a jobber match. He showed off all his talents, basically. You know, all the moves that we see Rob Van Dam do for the rest of his career, he's already doing them here in January of 1993. Isn't that crazy to think that he was wrestling in 1993 or even late 92?
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't really break out until like years later.
10 years?
Yeah.
Does like breakout? Like I understand he break out.
He breaks out in ECW, but
right. But I mean, like mainstream
WWE. Yeah, not until like 2002, 2001. So that's notable there. Ricky Steamboat has a rematch for the U.S. Championship against Dustin Rhodes. Another good match. The match ends in a time limit draw, and they fight as the show goes off the air. So good match there. And then we move on to the next Saturday night. It's January 30th, 1993. And we got another little promo with Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas. I'm not going to play this one, but JR mentions that the title match has been signed, and they will defend against Austin and Pillman. So the match is signed, but they don't announce when it's going to happen. It's just been signed. Shane Douglas mentions that they took the low road and drew first blood. So Shane says they're going to draw second blood. And Steamboat yells and screams that they're coming to fight. Woo! And also, if you want to hear that Tuco Scorpio video, or you want to watch that Tuco Scorpio video, it's on the January 30th episode also at 9 minutes in. But then the great thing that is worth checking out, just hilarious, it's WCW of the time, and that is Sting is looking for Vader, Big Van Vader, and he makes his journey through the wilderness and through the mountains and gets to the White Castle of Fear. Jamie, did you take the time to watch that? It's at 16 minutes in. The White Castle of Fear, when Sting finds Vader.
Oh, and they're pulling the and like they get the mastodon in the middle.
Yeah,
and there's looking back and forth on the strap.
And there's a couple of chicks there, and there's a midget guy there.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't catch that was what it was called.
Yeah, the White Castle of Fear.
Ah.
Yeah. They'll have a White Castle of Fear match, but this is the actual place where Vader lives.
I guess I did see this, but I guess I missed the the name.
It's fucking hilarious.
I like how corny it is because they even have like when lightning hits, like thunder. It's like it's like a very shitty sound effect.
Yeah, I mean this is the early version of what they're doing now in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's cinematic.
Yeah, it's a cinematic segment here. But yeah, that's funny. So go back, check that out. And again, that's January 30th. So we'll move on from there to go to February 6th, 1993. And we get a match. It's a tag team match. Brian Pillman and Steve Austin versus Too Cold Scorpio and Johnny B. Bad. So not too different than the match before, except that we no longer have Brad Armstrong or Barry Windham in the match. So we got head-to-head tag match here. So Pillman, as he's making his entrance, and I like this, and they show these in the clips. If you ever go to watch like Brian Pillman documentary or an Austin documentary, and he talks about the Hollywood Blondes, they always show this clip of Brian Pillman walking out with his entrance, and he puts his fist up like he's about to peg off the camera, but then he shakes his head like, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that." So nice little clip there. The match kicks off with Scorpio and Pillman. Pillman complains that Scorpio pulled his tights. They have a nice exchange, and Scorpio is going to drop kick Pillman out of the ring. When they get back into the ring, Johnny Bad gets tagged in, and then Austin's tagged in there. Bad gets Austin in an armbar and tags Scorpio, who then jumps on Austin's arm from the top rope. And this is one of the many times that Austin and Mero will be working together, and they just always work so well together. And
yeah, they do.
You know, and the most notable match that people probably remember would be King of the Ring 1996. In that I guess it's semifinal match. Yeah, the third match in the tournament, but the first match on the King of the Ring pay-per-view. That's the one where Austin gets kicked in the mouth and has to go get stitches or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
We covered that.
Yep. Yeah, we covered it a couple times. We did it in our episode 3, and then we did a watch along Austin 316 Day this past March.
Yep.
So if you want to go back and check that
plenty
out,
of content out there if you want to.
Yeah, just dive
check
back.
out more of our opinion on that stuff.
Oh yeah. So Austin gets the advantage on Scorpio moments later, and then he drapes him on the top rope, and the ref has Austin break the hold. Then while the ref is talking to Austin, Pillman hits a suplex on Scorpio out of the ring. So nice little spot there. Scorpio gets back into the ring, and he's spending a lot of time in there at this point, so he's looking for a hot tag. Pillman is tagged in, and Scorpio finally makes that hot tag to Johnny B. Bad. Johnny B. Bad takes on Austin and Pillman together, so he's looking like a bad man. And Johnny B. Bad hits that sunset flip from the top rope. That is amazing. You know,
yeah, it is.
Sunset flip, jumping over the person, then rolling them up. That's freaking crazy. So awesome shit there, and not if you've watched Mero matches, it's part of his repertoire, so he always uses it. But it looks so good here. Austin's gonna run in and break the count there, and then we get to the finish. The ref is pushing Scorpio out of the ring, and while that's happening, Austin nails Johnny B. Bad with a punch to the face from outside of the ring. Pillman rolls up Johnny B. Bad after he gets punched by Austin, and the match wraps up in about 8 minutes. So it's kicks off the show. It's about 8 minutes, and it's decent, good action there. And Austin and Pillman, they sneak in a win. So, you know, they're going to be winning their matches, usually not clean. So they're trying to get that heel heat. All right, so just a couple other notable things that happened on that episode from February 6, 1993. And that is Steven Regal makes his in-ring debut, and he debuts as a babyface. We got a World TV title tournament bracket revealed. So another tournament. So they just had a U.S. tournament. Now they have a TV tournament. So a couple of other notable things that happened on this show from February 6th is that Steven Regal is going to make his debut as a babyface, which was pretty surprising to see that he was actually a babyface. But he's coming in as the hot young wrestler from England, and they don't know what to do with him yet, so he's just a babyface. I mean, it doesn't take long for them to figure out this guy needs to be an asshole from England.
Yeah. He's too plain.
Right.
There's nothing to the guy. Either you make him a heel or he would have, I don't know, they would have turned on him quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They also reveal that there's a World TV title tournament, and they just finished a U.S. title tournament. Now they move on to a TV title tournament, Which
Everyone gets a tournament.
yeah, I guess
like that Oprah meme.
Yeah, it does make it for easy booking for these shows, though. Be like, all right, we got 2 tournament matches this week, and it makes the matches interesting at least because somebody's going to be eliminated from it.
Yeah,
so I like tournaments personally. If they're for something, King of the Ring tournament after a while it didn't mean shit, so I didn't care about it. But if it's for a title, then that's pretty cool. All right, so
yeah, I don't mind tournaments. I mean, just like most things in wrestling.
Yeah,
as long as it's all in how they actually
how it
produce
comes
it
off.
and how they treat it.
Right.
'Cause if they treat it like a joke, then I'm gonna take it like it's shit.
Right.
And not care.
Although one thing that gets treated like shit in hindsight is the Brawl for All, and when we were covering that, I enjoyed it. Even though
it was cool to kind of go back down and
even though
see
it
from an adult perspective,
right? Yeah. I mean, regardless of it destroying some people's careers or throwing off their pushes and whatnot, it's still, it was something to tune in for, I guess. Maybe some people tuned out for it, but I enjoyed it. All right, so anyway, Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies make their first appearance here. And that's Stan Lane, Tom Pritchard, and Bobby Eaton, all part of the Heavenly Bodies. And they're actually working in Smoky Mountain at this point. But they have a working deal with Smoky Mountain where they're on WCW. Some WCW guys like Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton go down to Smoky Mountain. And they have a similar agreement with ECW, too, to do that with Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson, which we just talked about on one of our recent Extreme ECW livecast episodes.
Helping the house out at both places.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We go to WCW Saturday Night, February 13th, 1993. And it's Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat. They defeat Joe Cruz and Fred Avery in a squash match. So just want to point them out because that's the team that Austin and Pillman are going after. So Austin and Pillman are going to cut a promo with JR at the 11-minute, 20-second mark. So take a listen to that, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, to WCW Saturday Night here with Stunning Steve Austin and Flyin Brian Pillman, the #1 contenders for the World Tag Team Championship. But I've got a feeling you're going to have your hands full with Marcus Alexander Bagwell momentarily.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Jim. I'm not even worried in the least bit about Marcus Alexander Bagwell. I just have a message to say to Steamboat and Douglas, because very soon they know that we'll be wearing the World Tag Team Championships.
All right, well, Brian, I know that especially you have had some big problems with Marcus Bagwell. He recently defeated you on Worldwide Wrestling. What's the situation here?
That was no defeat, Ross, and it's a sad state of affairs to see a young athlete like Marcus Bagwell resort to those kind of tactics, attacking me from behind, trying to end my career. Well, you jump on me, you're jumping on Stunning Steve as well. We both can't wrestle him. So what we're going to do here today, Bagwell, is teach you a lesson. I am guaranteeing you that you cannot last 10 minutes with Stunning Steve Austin. Stunning Steve will beat you in 10 minutes or less.
That's quite a challenge even for Stunning Steve Austin. Let's go back up to Gary Capetta.
All right, so kind of recap what happened in that promo there. Is that Austin's going to have a match with Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Austin says he's not worried at all about Bagwell, and Austin says that they will have the tag team champions at Superbrawl. So that's where their sights are. He doesn't care about Bagwell. He cares about getting that title shot. So apparently that tag team title match that was alluded to on the prior episode, it's been confirmed that it will take place at Superbrawl 3. That may change, though. So JR turns to Pillman, who actually took a loss to Marcus Bagwell on Worldwide Wrestling because Shane Douglas came down and distracted him. And Pillman claims that Bagwell can't even beat Austin within 10 minutes. And Pillman's fucking great on the promo here. Way better than
confident.
Austin. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is definitely, but he's one of the better, talkers and promo guys that I've seen watching these 3 episodes.
Imagine what he could have gone on to do years later during that Austin time, during the Attitude Era.
He commands your attention.
Oh, yeah. Now, Austin must be learning from him at this point. You would have to imagine, since they're driving together all the time, that he's
probably
learning.
picking up tips.
Right. Exactly. All right, so we get to the match. It's Steve Austin against Marcus Alexander Bagwell in a Beat the Clock challenge, kicking off at the 13-minute mark. And here we have Marcus Bagwell, who is considered to be a Rookie of the Year for, I think, like back-to-back years, according to WCW. And that's what they say. At least that's what they say on the air. So you have this young up-and-comer against another great talent who was once a Rookie of the Year in his own, on his own there back in 89 and 90. 2 different years he won it, but for different publications. So 2 young superstars here, on the rise. So Pillman's on commentary for this match, and he does a great job on commentary, just like he does a great job with promos. And then we get this match kicking off. It's some chain wrestling to start off. Austin and Bagwell exchanging offense counters. Austin attempts a suplex. Bagwell blocks it and hits the suplex of his own. Austin kicks out and tosses Bagwell through the ropes onto the mat. And then Austin flexes his muscles to the crowd like he's an old-fashioned classic heel. Pillman even sticks up for his partner here, saying he is the greatest TV champion of all time. So Bagwell rolls out of the ring. Moments later, Pillman calls him out for stalling. And I like that because it's a Beat the Clock. And Bagwell rolls out, and there's Pillman on commentary like, hey, he's just eating the clock up. Get back in the ring. So Pillman calls him a coward. Pillman, he's just great, like I was saying. And because that is something to point out. Like, if he didn't point it out, who knows if Schiavone would have pointed it out. So it was great that he knew to do it. It's just natural. So they get back into the ring, and Austin asserts himself on offense. Austin hits a few knife-edge chops, followed by a snapmare and 2 nice elbow drops. Austin hits a suplex, and then a graphic appears on the screen with a countdown of 5 minutes remaining, which is, I was surprised, is the actual time. It was pretty spot on. So they're not.
Yeah, I didn't double check it, but
it looked like it.
Just look at the math, and I know the timestamp that the match started and stuff, and it was definitely closer than you usually see with countdowns in wrestling.
Right, because they usually try to shave off time. Like, all right, let's instead of 5, let's say it's 3 minutes left. So Austin hits a nice falling suplex, and Bagwell kicks out of the count there. And Bagwell gets a near fall on a roll up to Austin. Bagwell makes a nice comeback. Back body drop to Austin, near fall. Turns that into a sleeper hold with only 3 minutes remaining. Bagwell's in control, and this is really all he has to do is try to maintain this hold, kill some time, and earn the win. Pillman says that the best TV champion he's been in these situations before, because if you remember, TV champions always had to defend with a time limit. So Austin has a lot of experience in these timed matches, is what Pillman's saying. Says Bagwell is about to make a rookie mistake. And that's a great call by Pillman, because TV title matches all had a time limit, as I just said. So Bagwell rolls out of the ring. Again, what the hell is that? That's like all heel moves. Like, is Bagwell the heel in this match, or is Austin the heel? Austin should be rolling out like that to try to save himself in this match. And Jim Ross on commentary.
Why would Austin? Huh?
What?
This makes sense for Bagwell though as a face.
Yeah, Bagwell wants to win, but wouldn't you think Austin would want to do the same thing?
Why? Austin has to win in 10 minutes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if he's hiding, that's not helping his cause.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But Marcus Bagwell hiding, it's like, yeah, all right, come get me. Like, he's playing. I don't know. I didn't catch it as heelish.
Yeah, I would actually. You're right. Yeah, it does come off more.
If it was a regular match, though, rolling out the ring, like, I could see why it's like that's a heel move.
Yeah.
But in this case,
but
I don't know.
I guess also though I could be thinking, Bagwell, he should be, if he's the babyface, he should be like, no, I'm staying in here. Let's go at it. I'm gonna beat you. Like, I'm not gonna win because of this little stipulation.
Yep.
Like, again, that's more of like how a heel would win.
He's just dumb. He's still trying. I don't know. Like, that's the match rules. I don't think that's heelish.
But anyway, Austin chases Bagwell into the ring to get him back into the ring so that Austin could try to win the match. So Bagwell suplexes Austin back into the ring. Bagwell has the upper hand with 1.5 minutes remaining. Bagwell gets a 2 count. And then we go from there to Austin hitting a double arm suplex. Gets a 2 count.
Nice move.
Yeah. And then a spinning clothesline, too. Nice clothesline there. With only 38 seconds left. Only gets a 2 count. Austin goes for another cover again. And Bagwell gets his foot on the rope. So the pressure's on. And this is what I like. Like, last minute, like, oh, shit, what's going to happen here? How's this match going to wrap up? So Austin hits a gun wrench suplex with 15 seconds remaining. Bagwell gets his foot on the rope again. 10 count begins. Austin rolls to Bagwell, pulls the tights. Bagwell kicks out and rolls out of the ring with 1 second remaining. Bagwell survives the challenge. So he didn't get pinned by Austin. He wins the challenge because he didn't get pinned. So these guys are on a roll here at this point. Bagwell is made to look good. And Austin still looks good too. And
I mean, Austin is kind of doing a lot of the match.
Right. Yeah, both guys worked well in the match, but what I'm saying is they both look good in the end. Like Marcus Bagwell.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's not like he took a loss. He survived. He won. He survived the challenge. He didn't get pinned. And he didn't pin Austin, so Austin didn't lose to him like a pinfall or a submission. He just lost this challenge. He wasn't able to beat Marcus Bagwell in 10 minutes. So they both look good coming out of this match. I thought it was an
awesome match.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right. It's actually a match to go back and watch. I was surprised at how good it was with Marcus Bagwell.
I just love this. Like, I love technical wrestler Steve Austin.
Oh, it's just so good. This whole
how many times you see him do I bet you we're not going to see him do a double arm suplex when we cover WrestleMania 17, right?
Right. Right, or a gut wrench suplex. Yeah, we're not going to see that show.
Because of injuries, I mean, obviously.
Right. So that's why it's nice to go back and see him in his top form, basically, 1993.
Yeah. Wild.
Probably didn't get better than this, 93, 94. I mean, he was good early on, right? 96. He was still damn good. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, he was damn good in 97 against Bret Hart. Bret Hart matches 96, 97. Those two matches are probably his best matches, I would say. But anyway, we get an update from the Superbrawl 3 Control Center. And Eric Bischoff announces that Pillman and Austin will be facing Marcus Bagwell and Eric Watts. So they changed everything right here on the spot. Something's going down with Shane Douglas. And they don't know if he's going to make dates or whatnot. So they took him off of Superbrawl and had this match instead. So no title match for Austin and Pillman at this point. They now have to go against Bagwell and Watts. Tough break, but they still will have their title shot to come. Just that shit drama going on with Shane Douglas has changed the stories. All right, so we move on now to the next week. It's February 20th, and we're just days away. Right, yeah, it's just a couple days away now from Superbrawl, so this was very last minute. They changed the match the week before. I mean, it's not like it's a headline match. I mean, this is a new tag team put together. But there is some, story going on behind it that some people would be following. Right, and coming off of the Clash of the Champions that everybody was able to see for free on TBS, where it set up this match, and now it's just, that match has changed. That sucks. Well, anyway, we move on to the February 20th episode, and there's some audio here of Brian Pillman and Austin having a promo with Tony Schiavone. It's just a minute, but take a listen to it. We'll be right back.
All right, fans, welcome back to WCW Saturday Night. You know about the animosity between these two men and, of course, the World Tag Team Champions. But later on in the hour, it will be a lumberjack match. Flyin Brian against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat Steve Austin.
Well, it's going to be a great singles match, Shivani. But how come it isn't a great tag match? I guess they have you fooled, Tony, but hello, you don't have us fooled for 1 second. We took out Douglas's knee at the Omni, and he has become the weak link. And in a team going against us, you can't afford to have a weak link.
It's an obvious smokescreen, Shivani. A crafty move by a cagey veteran. We know Douglas is hurt. The first kink in the champion's armor has been firmly established. Steamboat, your little ploy is going to backfire because today, in this lumberjack match, the next step for the team of the 90s, the tag team immortality, is going to take place.
Okay, that's it from Austin and Pillman. We go back for tag action on TBS.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so Austin says the upcoming match will be a great singles match, but it should be a tag team match. So there's going to be a match between Brian Pillman and Ricky Steamboat later on in the show. And then they move on from there to say that the Douglas match is on hold because Pillman attacked Douglas's knee on February 7th, 1993 at the Omni in Atlanta. And then they showed the footage of it later, so that's how they're getting out of this match, is saying that Douglas is injured. So Larry Zbyszko had alluded to this in a tag match featuring Douglas and Steamboat earlier, that he's nursing an injury and now he's not going to be able to compete at Superbrawl. Pillman says that this match coming up with Ricky Steamboat is just a smokescreen. It's the first chink in the armor, and Steamboat is the next for the team of the 90s to take place. So he wants to take down Steamboat, and he's referring to his team as the team of the 90s. They're about to take their place on top.
Damn creative.
Yeah, team of the 90s. That brings us now to this lumberjack match, Brian Pillman versus Ricky Steamboat. Okay, so they changed the match, like I was saying there, and we'll get more into what goes down on our next episode of the Hollywood Blondes when we get to them actually being able to have their match with Steamboat and Shane Douglas. So there'll be more to come with that story as we go on. But in this lumberjack match, we have a whole crew of lumberjacks, and Steamboat's going to make his entrance, and this music sucks. It's from the WCW Slam Jam album. The music is so horrible. You got to go into YouTube and just search Ricky Steamboat WCW music. It's the whole thing is just about like how great of a guy he is, and he's a father and a husband. It sucks.
I'll have to listen to that one.
Oh, it's so corny. I want to get all the songs to the soundtrack. Listen to it when the gym's open again.
Yeah.
But anyway, this match is going to be a damn solid match. They have 22 minutes left for this match, so it's going to take up the rest of that episode. But a few things I wanted to point out is that we have the lumberjacks. And listen to this list of people that are lumberjacks. Tuco Scorpio, Shane Douglas, Rob Van Dam, Steve Austin, Cactus Jack, Steven Regal, Vinny Vegas, Kevin Nash, Scotty Flamingo, The Raven,
Yep.
Marcus Bagwell, Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce, the Godwins.
Yep, the Godwins. That's right.
So you have all this mid-card talent in WCW that they will all be going on to becoming a lot more well-known in ECW and WWF within the next couple of years. It's crazy. The amount of talent that WCW has right here. Just in mid-card. It's awesome. All right, so we get to the match here, and Austin is going to be sneaking in some cheap shots as much as he can to Steamboat. Pillman's going to start to take control with some body slams and knee drops, and gets Steamboat into a Boston Crab. Austin tries to help Pillman get the leverage on the Crab, but Cactus Jack is going to push Austin away. So that was cool to see too, just knowing what their future has in store for them. We get early Cactus Jack and Austin interactions here. And Austin's going to do the same thing again while the ref is on the other side of the ring dealing with Shane Douglas, who is now in the ring trying to help. And the Lumberjacks are all brawling with each other. And the referee is Nick Patrick, and he's trying to gain order at this point.
NWO ref.
Yes, the NWO. So even he upgrades too in the years to come. And then goes on to WWE also. In his time with SmackDown when he shaved his mustache. So the action in the ring continues. Steamboat is now in control, but Steamboat's back can't hold up Pillman after the Boston Crab, so I like that. I always like when they work in an injury, and Steamboat is, because he had that Boston Crab on earlier, he can't body slam Pillman now. Awesome. Steamboat is just so aware, because you see it so often now where people forget about the spot that they did 3 moves ago. Like, you just got hit, and now all of a sudden you can do that.
That's why Steamboat's one of the greats.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just the little things like that. I mean, it shouldn't even be called a little thing, because that's a huge thing. You need to continue the story while the match is going on. Not just forget that it happened. But anyway, Pillman is now working on the lower back, so the storytelling continues, and he does an abdominal stretch. And Austin is going to help give him leverage again, too. And that's going to piss off all the other people, especially Shane Douglas. Shane Douglas is losing his shit as Austin continues to help Brian Pillman in this match. Steamboat jumps out after Austin at this point. The Lumberjacks break it up and send Steamboat back into the ring. And then Pillman starts to crank on Steamboat's back with the camel clutch. So still working on Steamboat's back more and more. Steamboat tries to make a comeback. Steamboat's reaching for the ropes. And Steamboat finds a way. He gets Pillman on his shoulders and then drops him down. Crazy way to break out of the move.
Yep.
He just gets on the shoulders and drops him down. From there, they go to a commercial break. And when they return, the match ends. Which is crazy. But I like it because they always said on WCW, all right, we'll be back if anything happens. The cameras are rolling. And usually it'd be like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. But in this case, the fucking match ended. So, because we got the cameras rolling, this is what happened. So, they show the footage. Larry and JR are announcing it after the fact, which is pretty cool because it wasn't just their audio from the commercial break. They're just going over, talking about the highlights. Like, all right, these are the main things that you need to know. So, they kind of edited things down to what we really needed to see.
Okay.
So Steamboat is frustrated and starts choking Pillman in the corner of the ring. Pillman body slams Ricky after he breaks the choke. Pillman misses a knee drop. Steamboat starts kicking on Pillman's knee. Pillman tosses Steamboat out of the ring. Austin starts to beat on Steamboat, and the Lumberjacks go at it again. These Lumberjacks are fighting more with each other than trying to get people back in the ring.
With testosterone out there.
Yeah. So Austin sneaks out of the melee, so they're all in there, and Austin makes his way, sneaks out, and he gets Steamboat and puts him in a figure 4. Well, actually, rather, Austin sneaks out. Steamboat has a figure 4 on Pillman. That's when Austin sneaks in and hits Steamboat to break up that figure 4. So that's what happens there. Austin holds Steamboat for Pillman to give him a nice little whack, but Steamboat ducks and Pillman nails Austin. Shane Douglas has the ref tied up at this point, but when Shane Douglas notices what had just happened, Shane Douglas is going to drop from the apron, and Steamboat's going to roll up Pillman and get the 3 count. So Brian Pillman loses another match. He had lost to Marcus Bagwell. Now he's lost to Ricky Steamboat here. So they're having their issues. Pillman and Austin aren't getting the wins in the singles competition, but when they're a team, they're able to sneak them out there. And I like that because it's showing that one-on-one, they can't get the job done, but together they find a way to sneak out the victories. So it's a way of making them look kind of chicken shit in a way where, in these singles matches, they're just not pulling it off. What do you think?
I don't
So anyway, you got these chicken shit heels, and they need each other is really what's going on. And then from there, we're going to move on now to Superbrawl III from February 21st of 1993. This is in Asheville, North Carolina, and this is the match that was changed. It opens up the show, so we don't get the championship match that we had anticipated that we were building to. We get Eric Watts and Marcus Bagwell, who we had seen in action a few times. And it's not like the matches that they had were bad, because Bagwell versus Austin was damn good.
Well, that's what I was trying to say earlier.
It's because
a
Austin.
lot of that match is Austin. Watching Buff Marcus Alexander Bagwell, he was a good worker, but I feel like his push was more physique related.
Oh, absolutely. Guaranteed.
Because he did have charisma and shit too. Mm-hmm. I remember as a kid being like, oh, this guy's the next big thing. I mean, probably because they always talked about it. So I bought into the fucking commentary. But
they were always saying he was a big deal. Rookie of the year, former rookie of the year.
I think he just got like too big, and then he really couldn't like work as well.
Yeah, then he got too silly, too goofy.
Yeah, that too. That's right. Yeah, I don't know.
He's buff.
He was cool though.
Yeah, it was cool. It was memorable.
Yeah,
a lot of people did like him at the time.
I did.
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people were like back in '97, like meatheads. That's what they were like, just like him. All right, so anyways, we get this match going here. Austin comes out to the ring. He's doing the camera roll thing. That's going to be a major part of their gimmick moving forward. And now they have matching trunks. So for the pay-per-view, they debut their matching trunks. They probably figured like, oh, all right, we got to order these matching trunks because we're going to win the tag team titles. And then they find out, no, it's not a title match anymore. So that sucks. So they have the matching trunks. It's the black with the red star. But at this point, they still have different boots. So not totally matched yet, but a little better. They don't have their vest at this point yet either. Austin's still wearing a stupid Ric Flair robe. And Pillman is wearing some little cheap vest. Some shitty vest. But he doesn't have Bengal tights on anymore, so that's good. So we get on with this here. Shivani points out that they are now the number one contenders for the tag team title, but Shane Douglas is currently injured, and that's why they don't have the match. And Marcus Bagwell has also defeated Pillman and Austin in the weeks leading up to this. So Tony Schiavone doing a good job laying the information out there for this pay-per-view audience. And these guys in this ring, this is, the up-and-comers. You have Pillman, who was a Rookie of the Year, Austin, a Rookie of the Year, Eric Watts, a Rookie of the Year, and Marcus Bagwell, Rookie of the Year, according to WCW. So whether it's PWI, the Wrestling Observer, WCW, each one of these guys in some way have been recognized as a Rookie of the Year. And here they are kicking off the pay-per-view. So, I mean, that's a good way to book it, is to take the hottest guys that you got, the youngest up-and-coming guys, put them all in a match at the beginning of the show, get the crowd pumped.
Get the crowd going, because they have the energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? They know this is their chance to kind of, that's the true test. You know what I mean? Can you keep the crowd hot for the next, for the rest of the card?
Right.
Opening match is a big deal. That kind of sets the tone.
Absolutely.
And I know. I watched the whole card, and I ended up, most of the card.
Did you?
I caught the main event, and that match was awesome.
Yeah.
There's good energy in this pay-per-view, even though some of the matches sucked.
I love the pay-per-views of that time, of 93.
Yeah, me too. It brings me back, dude.
Yeah.
I still love the dark setting.
Yeah. In the
I felt so much more adult-like as a kid.
Right.
I shouldn't be watching this.
Right. Who's this for? This is the other thing. That's not what I watch.
It's not as colorful and shit.
Right. And they had the ramp. So.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, the match is going to go for a little over 16 minutes. It's a good opening match, solid wrestlers, as we were just saying. Austin gets teamed up on early by Watts and Bagwell, and Pillman is going to enter the ring and work on Eric Watts. Commentary team is awesome. It's Tony Schiavone and Jesse Ventura. They're hilarious together. Schiavone even snipes at Ventura at one point. He says, "You can join in at any time." And it reminded me of just moments ago, and I asked you, I don't know, what do you think? And you're like, I don't know. So Tony's like, you can join in at any time. And Ventura goes, you're the one calling the action. Call the action.
Yeah, they have good banter.
Yeah, it's great.
I always like Jesse Body Ventura really on anything.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's just a good, like, I don't know. He seems like a genuine dude.
Yeah. And on commentary, though, is what I'm saying, he's up there with Bobby Heenan.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm talking just like that,
in general.
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's why he's so, like, liquid, and he can kind of do anything. Movies, you know.
Right. Versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we get some basic tag team match wrestling here, and all throughout the first half of the match. You know, a nice way to warm up the crowd. And Pillman and Austin need to get a win here, is what I'm thinking. Like, they're the number one contenders, and they haven't really been winning. They've been losing in all these matches, building up as singles. They've been losing, and now they are the number one contenders. This was supposed to be a title match, so they better win, right? they got to pull out the win here. But since they're heels up against Bagwell, who's beat them in both singles matches, Eric Watts, who is the up and comer and the son of the booker, Bill Watts. You know, it seems possible that maybe they would decide last minute, and who knows, because it is WCW, that they would make a stupid decision and just say, let's change it. Let's just do Bagwell and Watts get the win. So, you never know. So, Jesse Ventura mentions, how come Eric Watts keeps getting booed every time he's in the ring? And I thought that was great because the crowd is booing Eric Watts. Because people knew Eric Watts sucked and he was only there because of Bill
Nepotism.
Watts. Right, exactly. Yeah. So Ventura even mentions it right on the air. And obviously Ventura backstage, and you know, he's a political kind of guy, so I'm sure he's aware of all the ins and outs of what's going on at the company he works for. So he probably knew that Bill Watts was on the way out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always the kind of guy that's like, fuck my superiors. Because he even did the same thing with Vince McMahon throughout his whole time there.
Yeah.
So he's probably like, if I was that way to Vince McMahon, fuck Bill Watts.
Yeah, he's a true alpha male. No one's more alpha than Jesse.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who are you? You know, I'm just as valuable as you.
Yep.
In his mind.
And he's got that Marine mentality too.
Yeah,
like
that military background to the Marines. Or
yep.
He was like he was up there, right? Was he like Special Forces or something?
Yeah, like Green Beret or something.
Yeah, I think that's Army.
Oh, yeah. Regardless, whatever it was, he was up there as some special soldier.
Yeah, because when he's in the Predator movie, they kind of like leverage him for a lot of tips, right?
Yeah,
I heard that on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so let's get back to the action here.
Navy. He was in the Navy.
Was it the Navy?
Yeah.
All right, so Pillman's going to fake a knee injury, and he uses that to his advantage during the match. And Eric Watts is going to fall for it, and he ends up getting laid out at the ringside after Pillman finally reveals that he's not injured. So nice little spot there. Yeah, and that's just creative to like fake an injury for a few minutes in the match and then be like, nah, sucker, not injured. Tricked you. So Austin gets on fire at one point around 19 minutes, and he has the advantage over Eric Watts. Eric Watts fights out of a sunset flip. Pillman gets tagged in. Bagwell has been out of the match for a while at this point. Austin and Pillman have been working well together. Tony Schiavone points that out. They work together very underhandedly, is the way that Tony Schiavone puts it out, basically calling them sneaks, but they're still getting the job done. And Ventura even says something like that. Well, they're getting the job done, so doesn't matter. Trying to win the match. So Austin punches Bagwell on the apron, which allows for Austin and Pillman to team up on Watts, while the ref gets Bagwell back into the corner. So it's that little sneaky move where you just run to the corner, hit your opponent's partner, and then they try to get in the ring, and the referee's like, hey, no. You can't come in, but they can double team your partner while I'm over here with you.
Yeah.
So you have that action going on there. So from there, Austin launches Pillman off the top rope for a big splash, and this is like a finisher. You know, I guess it's called a rocket launcher, but they have another name for it that we'll talk about on a future episode. But this is what their finisher is going to be, in essence. It's like a rocket launcher. But Eric Watts gets his knees up, so they're not going to win just yet. So moments later, Austin misses a leg drop on the second rope to Eric Watts, which also becomes one of Austin's favorite spots for a time here with the Hollywood Blondes, is the leg drop off the second rope. Later, it'll become the elbow drop off the second rope. Both Watts and Austin are down at this point, and their partners are reaching for the tag. We're at 23 minutes into the match at this point. Tony Schiavone even recognizes that this is a great match to kick off Superbrawl 3, and he's not lying. So Austin finally tags in Pillman. Watts tags Bagwell. Double hot tag. Bagwell goes like Hulkamania style on Austin and Pillman. Big time babyface. Austin saves Pillman from a cover after a power slam from Bagwell. We get all four men in the ring. Austin gets to his corner. Watt heads to his. And the ref pushes Watts over to his corner. So we get that separation again. And meanwhile, while that's happening, Bagwell gets a fisherman suplex on Pillman for a pin attempt. And Austin climbs to the top rope and nails Bagwell. So while Bagwell's sitting there, the fisherman suplex, like the perfect plex, pinning Pillman, but the referee is distracted at this point, so Austin comes down, hits that elbow, and Austin rolls out of the ring. Pillman covers Bagwell. They get the win. Just like that. 24 minutes into the match, they've pulled out the win because of all the chaos that they can create as a tag team, which they're not able to do in their singles matches, but when they're a team, they find their ways to win the match. So, solid match to kick off Superbrawl 3. So, good shit there. You know, unfortunately, it wasn't the tag team title match that they were hoping for. We were hoping for.
Or we were hoping for, yeah.
So, they're starting to mesh well at this point. Not quite the Hollywood Blondes yet, but getting there. They're just about there. They have some of their gimmicks. They got the rolling camera. They got the trunks. They got a finishing move, the rocket launcher. They got their style in the ring where one person's going to distract somebody else so that the other can cheat. So they're working out all of that tag team style that they will go on to have over the months of 1993 and become one of the more memorable teams that was only a team for a short period of time, just in 1993.
Yep.
So
but still recognized as one of the better tag teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Because not only because of them being actually very good at this time, but because of who they would go on to be too, is why they also get looked back very fondly. It's almost kind of like a hidden gem, like, oh, before Brian Pillman was, cool, and before Austin was cool, there was this team that was actually pretty cool too. So there it is. So also this match, since it's a match, pay-per-view match, might as well rate it. JV, what do you think? We don't give skulls, we'll give stunners on this one.
Stunners?
How many stunners?
I'd say 3 stunners. I didn't find this match. Actually, I was at 2.5 stunners because I didn't find this match better than the time limit match between Austin and Bagwell.
That's true. Yeah. Yes, I'd agree with you. 2.5 stunners for this match. While it was a good opening match, it was a match that was really for nothing. I guess it was more of a match that, like I said at the top of the match, that they had to win. They needed to win this match. They are the number 1 contenders, and this is just a little pit stop, if you will, prior to getting their title match. So they can't lose this match. They had to find a way to win this match, and they were able to eke it out against not that great opponents, but opponents that they had wrestled and had decent matches with, like you said, the beat the clock match with Bagwell and Austin, but then also a couple tag team matches, the 6-man tag match and then the regular tag match that Watts and Bagwell were both in also. So, shit, a whole lot of Bagwell on this episode of the Hollywood Blondes. Didn't expect that. The episode was actually going to be more, but I was looking at the notes. I was like, nah, this is enough for an episode. So I'll cut that off, and we'll stop at Superbrawl, which is where we stopped here. A couple other notable things that happened at Superbrawl 3 is that Ric Flair makes his return to WCW after being gone since late 1991. So he's just finally arrived just a couple weeks after losing to Mr. Perfect on Monday Night Raw in a loser leaves town match. So Ric Flair is back at this point, and you had the main event was Sting and Vader, right? Yeah, Sting versus Vader in the main event.
Yep. Strap match.
Yep, strap match. So,
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it a couple months ago when I first took these notes.
That's awesome.
I went back and watched some of this Hollywood Blonde stuff this past week just to kind of refresh my memory. But But I didn't watch most of the Super Bowl card. But I got some time now. Maybe I'll watch it. But anyway, Austin and Pillman are going to be working a memorable angle with Ric Flair coming up soon. Probably coming up on our 4th episode of the Hollywood Blondes. So the next episode that we'll get to will be covering them winning the titles. So the feud with Steamboat and Douglas will continue on. There'll be some shit going on with Shane Douglas. He's ultimately going to be leaving, so he's going to get replaced. There's going to be a whole mass tag team angle where you think that Douglas and Steamboat are under there, but it's really just Steamboat and Tom Zink because Douglas is not there anymore, so they had to put masks on them. So
that's so shitty.
So it's kind of like the Conquistadors with Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
So we'll be getting into that in the next episode. Not sure when that will come out. If you're in demand for another Hollywood Blondes episode, just tweet at us, and then we'll try to work it in sooner. But at this point, it's been like a 6-month thing here. So we did it in early January, and now we're doing it here in late June. So about 6 months. So maybe 3 months will be the next one. I don't know if we should wait until this year's over, but we'll see. Whatever you want. So that one will lead up to Slamboree of 1993 in a big cage match between the Hollywood Blondes, what they will be called at that point, the Hollywood Blondes against Steamboat and Douglas, in quotes, wearing masks. So that's what will be coming up next time on the Hollywood Blondes special series. All right, so let's now get into the bottom line wrap up. Just to give you a heads up on what's coming up, the bottom line wrap up or bottom line wrestling cast for the next month or so. Have it all laid out for you, and we're on the road to WrestleMania 17. And on next week's episode 77, we'll be covering Raw and SmackDowns from from February 26th through March 8th. So that's next week on July 1st. On July 8th, episode 78, in which we'll cover March 12th through March 22nd. And then the big one, July 15th, episode 79, WrestleMania X7, Austin versus The Rock.
Did you say July?
July.
Oh, our July.
Yeah.
Derp. Never mind.
July 15th.
I'm like, where's me in fucking July?
What?
When you were saying July, for some reason I was thinking WrestleMania. Like that day.
Oh, no.
It's in July, and I'm like, what's he talking about? No, that's the day.
Yeah, that's the date that we're releasing it. Yeah. So
because we're closer to July than they are.
Yeah. Yep. So that's episode 79, and then we'll do a watch-along special for that entire match, Austin versus The Rock, and that would be on July 18th, 2020. So that's what's coming up over the next 4 weeks, the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. Just give some plugs to our podcast pals before we get out of here. Talking Taker with Alex and Travis. This week they're doing a special episode where they're going to break down the Undertaker The Last Ride series. So they've talked about episodes here and there as they've come up, but they're going to go in deep into all 5 episodes to break down the Undertaker's Last Ride series from the WWE Network. where he has announced officially that he's retiring. So, hats off to The Undertaker, and check out Talking Taker. Also, check out Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast with Mike Mills, Hardbody Hopper, and Doc Turner, where they are breaking down episodes of NWA World Championship Wrestling, the Saturday night flagship show of the 80s. And this week is February 11th, 1989. New episodes drop every Thursday, so check them out. Also, go back and check out their Smoky Mountain Wrestling episodes that they've just wrapped up this past week. 200 episodes of that. So check out Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. Also, check out Our Vantage Point, the retro wrestling podcast with Joe Marauder and Michael Quinn. This week is episode 181. It's a new season and new segments. So they have up-and-comers that never came. And this week is Jose Luis Rivera, Mac Rivera, also one of the members of the original Conquistadors. And then in their royal rankings for Best Talkers, week 1, they drew 2 names. And this has been a point of contention in our show over the past few weeks of who would make this top 10 list for them to rank. And the first 2 names that were drawn that they discuss and rank is Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. The Rock made the top 10, and they drew those 2 names, and
Wow.
and they ranked them.
Shocking. Seems kind of high for The Rock.
So I'll spoil it because screw it. Stone Cold gets ranked number 1. Rock is at number 2 right now. All that will obviously. All that will.
You were way off.
Well, they only do 2 at a time. So on the next episode, 2 more will be put in. So say like Ric Flair.
They reshuffle.
Yeah, and then they reorder them at that. Yeah. But as of right now, it's Stone Cold and The Rock in the top 2. So check that out. And then next week they'll do the worst talkers. So we'll see who makes the worst list. Arn Anderson won't make the worst list. I think he'll make this top list. Sneak in there. If not,
Right, how many burner accounts did you use to submit your fucking rankings?
All right, then their last segment is a review, and they're going to review Shotgun Challenge from March 29th, 1997. So again, that's Our Vantage Point, the retro wrestling podcast. And those episodes come out on Monday mornings. Also, check out Jay Free on Free Your Geek. And go back and check out his archives of great episodes covering all areas of pop culture, from video games, movies, TV shows, and much more. Check out Free Your Geek. And then also check out JV and I on the Extreme ECW Livecast. It's on the Booking the Territory Patreon $5 tier. We do have some free episodes in our feed, so just scroll down and you'll see some. I think there's 3 or 4 episodes there. So check out those freebies. And if you like that, go on over to Booking the Territory and sign up for the $5 tier. And this past week, we released a jumbo size episode 26, where we covered April 26th, April 3rd, and April 10th of 1994. We do that watch-along style of ECW Hardcore TV. So check that out. We greatly appreciate it. Just try it out for a month, see what you like. And yeah, that's it. Just check it out. All right, so thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks, guys, for taking a little break with us as we went down memory lane to old school WCW with the Hollywood Blondes.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll be back with another one. And if you want it sooner, then just tweet at us, and we'll find a way to drop it in the schedule. All right, guys, thanks for listening. JV, any final words?
No final words, as usual.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. So long.
And that's the bottom line. And as far as I'm concerned, this over with, so get the hell out of here.